Hello everyone, thanks for stopping by the channel. This is going to be a voiceover because I'm a moron and somehow didn't get sound recorded for half of these clips. I've got an external microphone, but apparently I don't know how to use it. What we're doing here is we are going to trap some bees that are living in this tree. As you can see, it's right on the ground, and the homeowners are afraid to mow around it and everything else. So what we're looking at right here is an incubator. What I've got is that plate there sits on top of the nuke box. Now I don't know if you can see the chicken incubator top that I just sit down on top of that. And the reason I've got that is because I brought some brood, some eggs, larvae, cat brood, kind of a whole buffet of stuff from the house to put in that blue nucleus box that I've got over there. And so basically how a trap out works is you install a cone on the tree, which is what I'm going to be showing you right here. And you don't have to have this little corridor that I've got on there. I just keep using this cone over and over again. I had that going into a box on a trap out that was up in the air. I was trying a different technique that would put the cone actually inside of a box, which would in theory increase the odds of the queen coming out into that box, because she wouldn't be leaving into the light. So that's what's going on there, but I'm not trying it that way this time. Basically what we're doing is we're making it to where the bees can come out, but they can't go back in. And they could fly directly into the cone, but they can't really figure that out. So they fly down to the bottom where I've got all that mesh, and when they can't figure out how to get in, they smell the pheromones from inside that box. They smell the brood and all that inside the box, and they just settle for that. They go dump their nectar and their pollen and everything inside of that blue nucleus colony that I've got there. Fun fact, that's the first box that I ever built before I had bees. I was using that as a swarm trap. I didn't know any better. I thought, well, I'm going to set out a nucleus sized swarm trap. That was before I knew that a little bit larger trap would increase your odds. I mean, you can catch them in a nuke box, but so that's the very first box that I ever had. So what we're using as a screen, we've got number 8 hardware cloth, which you see on the outside, and then the green stuff there, that's like cut to size, like cut your own size filter for like a return air. And if you put that under the number 8 hardware cloth and screw it down, it basically blocks all the little crevices up against the bark. If you just try to attach the number 8 hardware cloth, sometimes they'll crawl in the little cracks of the bark and get in. It's very hard for them to do that when you put that filter membrane underneath the number 8 hardware cloth. What I was pointing at there was a hole that I had drilled into the tree, because I could tell somebody had done a trap out here before, and I thought maybe I could get a hole there in the tree and smoke them out. I wasn't able to do that. I think the reason I wasn't able to do that, and we'll see here in a bit, is there's a bunch of openings up above, and so I think the smoke just wasn't really bothering them too much, and I wasn't really able to drive them out. So that when I wasn't able to drive them out, I installed the cone, set up my bait box, and here we are. And so how this works is, eventually through attrition, the remaining bees inside the tree hopefully will just kind of abscond, and you'll get them all in your box out there. Doing it this way, there is really no guarantee you're going to get the queen. Actually, it's pretty unlikely that you will get the queen out of the tree. The queens are really reluctant to leave brood and exit the tree. They don't really like to do that. They will, but it's not a guarantee. So basically the bees that are inside of that box over there, they will immediately start drawing out cells and building a new queen in that nucleus colony. and that works out good. I mean, obviously you have to bring brood from somewhere else. They have no means of doing that on their own since the queen is still inside the tree. But if you've got, you know, maybe you pick from one of your best colonies and take some brood and some eggs and cat brood and stuff. And the cat brood's important because you want some younger bees to be emerging out, and that way you have all the old foragers. You're going to get a bunch of foragers in there, and then you want some younger bees as well to be in there. They'll revert back and draw out queen cells, but I don't know. I just feel like having some emerging brood is better as well. So here we are. I believe this is the next night. I came out to check and see how they were doing. I sealed up some holes and stuff, and I decided that there were too many bees in that nucleus colony. So I went home, got some more brood, and came back with another box. And here you can see where I had to block all of the holes and stuff that were up above, because there were bees coming and going from up there. And even with the bees coming and going from up there, I still had an overcrowded nucleus colony on the ground. So I sealed up all the other holes as best I could, and loaded up that box there and replaced it with another box so that they wouldn't be overcrowded, and I could keep packing that box and hopefully be successful on this. My light went out in my truck, and I'm trying to hold the camera and get a second light on. I probably should have edited that out. Anyway, so we got the bees closed up. A few of them I wasn't able to brush off, or they tried to land back on there on my way to the truck. So we got a few bees in the truck with us here, but they don't really bother me too much while I'm driving. They kind of just stayed there. I got ants in the truck. That's great. Hate it when that happens. And we're going to take these back to the house, and they've obviously started drawing out cells in there, so we'll just let them do their thing, and hopefully we get a queen back. Here they are back at the house. I put them over kind of in my mating yard. I've only got a couple small nucleus colonies over here. I don't want to put these bees over with my main hive stand area, just because I don't want a bunch of drift, spread disease and mites and everything amongst my production colonies and everything I got going on over there. So I've set them out over here. Most of these boxes are all empty. I've just got a few, like I said, a few nucleuses. Here's one here. They're just hanging out at the entrance, probably wondering what I'm doing. And then here's the other one over here. These are just some queens that I mated over here, and I've moved a lot of them, but when I move one, I'm leaving those behind to catch the stragglers, and they're just kind of there. Anyway, all right, we're back out. This is at least 2 days. So let's see, the last video when we were there at night, that would have been Tuesday evening. No, that would have been Monday. This is Tuesday. Let me think. No, this is Monday. The other day was Sunday. No. Help me out here. The other day was Monday. This has got to be Tuesday then. I don't know what day it is. This, no. I'm out of my mind. This is today. Today is Thursday. The last video was, it was Tuesday. It's been a day or 2 days, whatever. That's that box I came and swapped out with. I think they don't have enough room either. So I have this this box here is just something I keep in my truck in case I get fortunate and get a swarm call or something like that. So I'm going to try to transfer these bees, because I don't have any other brood with me. I'm going to try to transfer all these bees over into this bigger box. And you can see there's a decent little cluster on the lid here. So I'm gonna start shaking these in. In hindsight, I probably wouldn't have shaken those in yet, because this box, I need to unscrew the bottom that I've got on this thing and add some bee space to the bottom, so when I'm putting frames in, it's not like pushing on the bees. But this is just a little swarm trap that I've made. I make my swarm traps basically the size of a 10 frame Langstroth box, so I can use them for a brood chamber if I need to. So I'm gonna sit this lid out of the way here, and you can kind of see how many bees we've got in that nucleus colony there. I mean, they're pretty packed in there, and there's still a bunch of bees on the ground in front of the box as well. And I didn't have a smoker with me, so I just kind of had to be real careful as I move these bees into this bigger box to try not to get stung. It's pretty hot, and you can see I'm wearing a jacket because I didn't bring a jacket. And the shirt that I was wearing is probably the thinnest shirt that I own. And so I put that on just for a little bit of extra protection. They weren't too aggressive or anything. I took like 2 stings, but I didn't take any stings while I was filming. It was after the fact. I took one to the hand as I was trying to just put some tape on the lid so it wouldn't blow off or get knocked off by the neighbor's dog or something like that. One of them got me, and then I just had one on me when I was driving home and got stung in the neck. But they were pretty good when I was doing this, even with all the interference that I've got going on here. Most of these frames that I threw in that nucleus were just they just have a piece of starter strip on them, and I had those sitting around for putting in swarm traps. I think the bees like the kind of the open space in a swarm trap, but I don't want to have to check my swarm traps very often, even though I don't have that many out. I think I've got 3 swarm traps out. 2 of them are at the same place, and the other one I know it's like full of ants, so I don't think I mean like really full of ants, so I don't think I'm gonna get anything in there, and I just haven't had the time to do anything about it. I just noticed they were all in there when I was replenishing the lemongrass the other day. It's over at my sister's house. Anyway, so I'm trying to scoot these frames together because when I transport this eventually, I don't want those frames to be jostling around too bad and squishing bees, because I'll just close the wheel on the front of this and move them in this box. And this particular box has I can pull some duct tape off the back, and there's a screen too to increase the ventilation, but I'll stick them in the truck anyway. When I move them, I got heartburn or something going on here. When I move them, that way they don't overheat. And I should have showed, I got some footage on my, I guess it was on my phone when I first walked up. There were bees, quite a lot of bees coming out of the cone. So I'm thinking they figured out they're in Big Doo-Doo. I don't know. I'm hoping that the queen is going to come out with them. I'm hoping that they just abscond and bring her out with them. What I'll do is I'll take the queen cells that they've got here. I don't know if you should be able to see them here. They've started building queen cells out on this. Was the bait frame that I've got the eggs in, and this time all I did was just bring eggs, but they've already started drawing those out into queen cells. And when I do take this box back, I'll probably pull this frame, make sure there's not a queen on it, and put it with a few bees just to see if I can get a queen mated from those cells. And then I'll give this box with all the bees another frame with young larvae. That way I'll know if the queen came out or not, because if the queen came out, they won't do anything with that larva. I mean, it'll just be, business as usual. The queen will lay and whatever. Now, if they don't have a queen, they'll figure that out, and then they'll start drawing out cells again, and I'll know whether the queen came out or whether she, went down with the ship inside the tree. It takes a little while to do a trap out, but not that long, because the bees, just like anything else, they need water. Now, they've got resources in the hive as far as like food and pollen and everything, but they need water. So that is why all those bees, most likely that's why all those bees are coming out in pretty large numbers, even though some of them coming out look like they're pretty young and wouldn't normally be coming out and flying. It's because they're in desperate need of water, and they're kind of freaking out in there. So I'm just trying to move these over. I think on this frame, yeah, they've already got some comb up there, and they're putting nectar in it. I was trying to show that there's like a little 1-inch strip of some plastic foundation that I've cut down and stuck in some of those. Sometimes I use a piece of wood. Sometimes I use like a piece of plastic foundation that's like ripped and then kind of hammered into the slot on the top of the frame. I don't really do that anymore, but that's kind of what I was doing early on to try and catch swarms, which I'm not very good at. Most of my bees have come from cutouts. I have done trap outs before, but most of them have come from cutouts. I work a lot and don't get swarms very often, because whenever they get posted on the Facebook or I'm a part of a bee club, and there's a swarm call list where they'll try to call people when someone calls in a swarm, but I'm usually at work and can't go take care of it. But if they post something about a cutout, that's something that can be scheduled for the weekend or whatever. So that's how I've gotten my bees. I've never purchased any bees. So I've got the frames moved over, so I'm fixing to try and dump these bees in there. If you're still watching at this point, God bless you, because it's probably like you and one other person. This video is insanely long, but I want to show it. I don't really know how to condense it down much. If I was better at editing videos, I could probably do a little bit better job. But I also don't have a lot of time to be going through and editing videos. I'm trying to get this one where I can finalize it and get it uploaded, because I want to keep track of this, and I know I've got so much footage that I need to make it into 2 parts. So you can see we got a pretty good population here. Set that down, and I'll just move this box kind of back over where the other one was, and they'll start going up into that. So now they've got twice as much room as they had before. Still, I'm hoping that it's enough. You don't want to take the box back until you can kind of sit there at the cone for a few minutes and not see any bees come out. And that's when you kind of know, yeah, I got them. And some people will actually use colonies to come and rob out the tree too. After it's all said and done. But I'm just trying to get the bees out of the way, I think, right now. I think I edited this to where I moved the camera over to where you're not just staring at my back here. In a second. Oh, what I'm doing now is I didn't have enough frames with me to completely fill out the box. I think I've got like 8 frames in there maybe. And so I've scooted all the frames to one side, and I'm using tape to tape down that outside frame. That way when I pick up the box to take it back to the house, those frames won't slide over and crush bees and everything. So I'm trying to navigate around all those bees to get the tape on there to secure those frames down without getting stung. At this point,